One minute you're on top of the world, the next, guy turns out to be a crook. Well, how long are you planning on staying with Ginger?
No one wants to get out of here as fast as I do.
I'm sure this is a big come down from what you're used to.
You'll be very happy to know that I lost every cent of my own money.
My husband was a slick operator. I was there a week. I knew the guy was hitting on a girlfriend.
I can't.
So Blue Jasmine hits theaters locally on August 9th. We asked some Bostonians whether they plan to see it and how they feel about the man behind the movie.
Things happen with people. It doesn't bother me whatsoever.
We all move on. We forgive and forget in this country. Hopefully.
I don't think it's ruined yet for me with Woody Allen, but there is a line out there. I do feel like the less I know about actors' personal life, the more I'm going to like the movie.
Okay, and joining me now are WGBH's Jared Bowen and Boston Globe film critic Ty Burr. Welcome to both of you. Thanks. So I checked in. It was 1992 when Mia Farrow, the common-law wife of Woody Allen, found these nude photos of Sunyi Previn, her adopted daughter, then 19, and Woody Allen, who was 56. And I was like, oh, this is terrible. You know, Manhattan was ruined for me because that was about a 17-year-old girl, right. Annie Hall. But now it is 21 years later. So is Woody Allen fully rehabbed now and we can go off to Blue Jasmine and not feel apologetic about this?
Well, I think a lot of people went off to Midnight in Paris and didn't have a problem with it.
Really? I just sneak out.
I think there was, I honestly think that there has been, especially in the last 10 years, a divide between what you think of the man, and there are a lot of people there that haven't forgiven him for something that was either unforgivable or just icky, right. Although not necessarily illegal.
Nope.
And this is the longest relationship he appears to have had.
That's right, they're married now.
Exactly.
15 years married.
15 years. But people are making a distinction between how they feel about the man and how they feel about his movies. And that's a very interesting dynamic that we tend to, you know, chew on a lot in our culture.
Okay, we've got Alec Baldwin in this movie, too. Now, people always talk about the fact that Alec Baldwin, when a few years ago, screamed at his daughter, called her a pig. It was terrible. Then he tweeted this anti-gay slur. He's not a very nice guy. And yet, every time I look at him, I start to laugh.
Well, and I think that's part of the problem, because I find what Woody Allen has done is reprehensible, marrying your daughter wife. It's just revolting. So my strategy over the last few years has been, or is over the last 19 years, has been to never make sure a dollar of mine never goes into Woody Allen's pocket. So it's easier now because I go to all the screenings, so I don't have to pay.
Okay.
But I think it's so difficult, as a couple of people in the piece just referenced, it's difficult to separate the artist from their moral behavior. And I think that everybody looks at Alec Baldwin most recently and on 30 Rock as Jack Donaghy, this hilarious guy who's so likable and cuddly, and you can't understand necessarily how that person is this awful, atrocious person at home. And it's funny that you mentioned this, because I never gave a second thought as I was watching 30 Rock that this really is kind of, he's in many ways a reprehensible person in his personal life as well.
Well, but the character he plays is egotistical, is completely self-absorbed. I mean, in a weird way.
But the most lovable one you've ever seen.
Yes, but it probably wouldn't exist without our prior knowledge of what Alec Baldwin is doing. I mean, it's sort of a tweak of his persona.
I thought it was okay to like Alec Baldwin after he co-starred with Meryl Streep in that movie about the married couple. What was it called? They got back together again. And
I don't remember the title. It had
it's
one of those
complicated.
Yes.
Thank you. It's complicated. So I figure he had the Meryl Streep, you know, okay, and that made it okay.
It's like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval.
Exactly. Another one, Roman Polanski.
Oh, that's a different. That's a different kettle of fish
now that's a different
entirely.
story. Okay, he was. Well, tell the story of Roman Polanski.
Well, the story was that he drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's problematic.
Yes, that is problematic.
Yes.
It's wrong, illegal, and he skipped the country for you know, a variety of reasons. But he skipped the country before he would have been sentenced.
But he made a great film, The Pianist.
He made, and here is, and as a practicing film critic, here is what I have to do. I have to look at the film and say, The Pianist it's a great film. And I have to tell my readers, anybody who reads my review, saying, you have to make your decision about how you feel about putting money in this man's pocket or supporting his work. That's up to you. And if you don't want to do that, I totally understand that. But there are some reprehensible people who are also great artists.
Well, this is the, and I think if you think about it, going back, centuries and centuries, I think that we know that artists are different people. Many times they're geniuses and they have different minds and they behave differently, and sometimes, oftentimes I think their moral compass is askew, especially if you look at some of the painters, Van Gogh and some of these extraordinary personalities, artist personalities of history and now of our times. It's not that you can excuse their behavior, but I think you can't look at Roman Polanski without thinking this is a person who has made some of the best movies of our time. And so you have to look at the art separately from the person who made it.
Which is not easy.
Now, you said there are some really reprehensible people. Like who? Who are we missing?
Oh, well, I was thinking about when we were talking about this backstage, about the history of Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood stars and directors have been doing reprehensible things for years. I was thinking about Errol Flynn back in the 40s, who went on trial for statutory rape for 2 underage girls and was found innocent, even though everybody in the country knew he did it.
I had no idea.
And that's how the phrase "in like Flynn" came into being.
Oh.
And at the end of the trial, a little girl goes up and gives him a bouquet of flowers, and everybody was just like, well, that's Errol Flynn. It fit in with his persona. I mean, at the same time, Charlie Chaplin goes on trial for supposedly fathering a young woman's child. Blood tests prove he wasn't the father, but because funny people shouldn't be messing around with young underage women, young women. Action stars can do it, but not comedians.
Okay.
He was found guilty, even though he wasn't the father of the child.
Well, we're out of time here, but the bottom line is we can go see Woody Allen movies without feeling too guilty. Is that correct? Yes?
It's up to you.
If you separate.
And if the movie's good, and this one's good.
Okay. That's it for Greater Boston. I'm Marjorie Egan. Thanks for watching.